1, 2, 3.
Guerra Movie House!
What is up, you guys? Okay, so about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, I found out about a Korean film, a foreign film called The Chaser, a movie that a lot of people seem to like. I kind of saw the trailer for it, I looked into it a little bit, and then somehow forgot all about it. And I had absolutely no idea that it was on Netflix. Went ahead and added it to my list, added it to my instant queue, and made plans for this weekend and decided that no matter what happens, I'm going to sit down and watch this movie. Because I've been wanting to watch this movie for a very long time, I just forgot that I did. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm very open about everything. I love foreign films. I love seeing what kind of movies are out there all over the world because, let's be honest here, the US is not the only country making movies. Not only am I going to watch this, I'm also going to watch Oldboy, the original. I know Spike Lee recently made his remake of it and released it, I think, last year. And it got a lot of mixed reviews, but I think I'm going to watch the original because it is on Netflix and that has like a huge cult following that a lot of people all over the world are absolutely obsessed with. So I figured, why not just have a double feature tonight? I'm gonna watch The Chaser, and then after I watch The Chaser, I'm going to watch Oldboy, the original one. I'm gonna get myself some drinks, get myself some snacks, and enjoy an awesome foreign Asian double feature. So first off is The Chaser. I'm not gonna waste any more time talking because my videos are always so long. I'm just gonna sit down and enjoy it. See you soon. Okay, so this movie might not even be what I thought it was because I kind of thought it was going to be like a serial killer mystery, but I think it's sort of gonna take a whole entire different direction because the serial killer is in custody like so soon, so early into the story, so early into the film. I'm not complaining at all. It's actually really good and it's very different. I do like that. It's definitely one thing after another, extremely suspenseful. I feel like what can possibly happen? Like usually I'm able to guess, you know what I mean? You kind of see things coming when you've seen a certain amount of movies. So far I feel like I can't guess what's gonna happen next because they keep throwing surprises at you. So far so good. Gonna keep watching it and let's see what happens. Okay, let's talk about The Chaser. What a brilliant film. I think the number one thing that I like about this movie is the fact that it takes place in like a day, one night, maybe like a day and a half, and it's played beautifully. It's one thing after another. It just doesn't stop, and whatever you think is going to happen next does not happen. It goes a completely different way every single time. The movie starts off with a pimp who happens to be like the biggest ass ever. He's a jerk, he's selfish, he doesn't care about anybody except for himself and his money. He is going broke, he owes a few people some money, so he's struggling with that. Immediately you find out that a few girls that work for him, a few prostitutes that work for him, have gone missing, and he strongly believes that they ran away. So there's this prostitute who is sick, she has a cold, she refuses to go into work. He is pissed off because he needs the money, so he calls her up and tells her that she needs to go to work. Doesn't care how sick she is, how horrible she feels, she needs to go to work. Later on during the film you find out that he actually used to be a detective, so he decides to use the skills to pretty much find out what happened to his girls. The girl that was sick and had a really bad cold does go into work and ends up being captured by a serial killer. Being an organized pimp, I guess, he realizes that the guy that just called for a prostitute who happened to be the one that had a cold happens to be the same guy that has called for all these other girls that have gone missing. So immediately he thinks that this guy is going to kidnap this girl. So he decides to use her as bait. He doesn't suspect that they're being killed off. He actually suspects that this guy is kidnapping all these girls and selling them. He believes that this guy could be his competition and could be the reason he's going broke. The really cool thing about this movie, this story, is that The writer didn't waste any time letting us know that this guy's a serial killer. Straight from the beginning, we know who this guy is and we know what he does. We are introduced to this character, we are brought into his home, and we know him. Plain and simple. Let's not waste any time. We know who this guy is and what he does. Pimp decides to use this prostitute as bait. She says, let me know when you get to his place, text me his address, call me, let me know where you are, and I will go and handle this guy and find out where the other girls are. Of course, that sort of doesn't really go according to plan. She ends up at his place, she memorizes the address from whenever they were going in. She asks to go to the bathroom, she pulls out her cell phone, decides to call her pimp to let him know where she is, and there is no service at all. The pimp gets mad, he decides to go looking for her. He goes to the very exact street that a previous prostitute's car was found. Of course, he doesn't know which house this is, but he does know which area or what road he lives in because he has found another prostitute's car on that road, so he decides to go to that same road. Without having a choice, the serial killer has to come out of his house to handle some business and is captured by this pimp who used to be a detective. Of course, the pimp does not know that the serial killer is a serial killer, but does sort of know that he is involved or responsible for the disappearing of all of his girls. And without going into detail, they are then both captured by the police and arrested. The serial killer ends up confessing everything, tells the police that he is a serial killer and he is responsible for the disappearance of all these girls, and he actually goes into detail telling them what he's done. The pimp does not believe all of this. He's telling the police that he's lying, that he actually kidnapped other girls and sold them. Then he starts changing his story, and everything that he's saying just starts to not make any sense, so because of lack of evidence, they have to release him. The pimp, of course, naturally is pissed off. He doesn't necessarily have to believe that he's a serial killer, but he does strongly believe that he is responsible one way or another for the disappearance of all of his girls. So later on, because he does have connections in the police departments, the pimp is also released. He goes to this prostitute's home trying to figure out if he can find any evidence of what happened, and ends up finding her daughter. This prostitute has a daughter, which obviously he did not know about. He takes her in, he feels responsible, he feels really bad, and he makes it his goal to find this girl's mother, his prostitute. The really good thing about this movie is the whole entire movie is a chase, and it's all like in the same neighborhood, and I actually found myself yelling at the TV, sitting at the edge of my seat going, are you serious? The writer and the director, in a brilliant way, I guess, decided to let the audience, the viewers, know everything. I mean, we sort of know everything that's going on at the same time, but we also know for a fact that the characters in the movie do not know what's going on with all the other ones. So we find ourselves yelling at the TV, trying to let all of them know what's going on. Does that make sense? I'm getting the feeling that I'm not making any sense. But please, take my word for it. Go watch it. It's phenomenal. It's a brilliant film. I love it. I want to go buy it. I want to get a poster that I can put up here in the movie room because it is just, it's amazing. The ending, oh my god. I'm telling you, you don't see anything coming. You don't anything throughout the whole entire movie. Not just the big twist in the end, but just, I mean, the whole entire movie is twist after twist. You don't see anything coming. Good job. You got me. You blew my mind with a brilliant film. I'm never gonna forget this experience. I can talk about this movie forever, but I'm gonna have to spoil it. So please, it's on Netflix. Do yourself a huge favor. Watch this movie. Okay, it is a foreign film, it's Korean, so you do have to read subtitles. If you are a huge film buff, you won't mind it, because film buffs, a real film buff has a open mind, is willing to watch any film that is highly, highly recommended, and this movie is that. Highly, highly recommended, you guys. Do yourself a huge favor and go watch this. I don't know what else to say. Do yourself a favor. Go watch it. It's brilliant. It's great. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go watch Oldboy. I'm going to go do that and continue this movie nights. I'm done with one film. I'm extremely happy about it. No regrets. Loved it. I already talked about it. Let's move on. Oldboy. And like I said, this movie has a huge following, and I'm very curious to know what all the fuss is about. A lot of people seem to love this movie. A lot of people think that this is like a huge foreign film masterpiece, and a lot of people seem to be very angry at Spike Lee for trying to remake it. And I actually saw that trailer and it didn't look bad, but then I saw a trailer for this one and thought, this looks a lot better. Like I said before, it's on Netflix, so why not watch it? Don't have an excuse not to. I want to know what all the fuzz is about. So no more rambling, no more talking. Gonna get more drinks and get straight to it. Okay, I do have some questions. I mean, I kind of know the answer to them, but I'm also expecting them to be answered throughout the film. I'm halfway through and I'm sure I'm supposed to have all these questions, and some of them have been answered. A really cool thing about the way the story plays out is that it doesn't necessarily feel like they're taking way too long to answer all of your questions, because, I mean, there is a lot going on. As the viewer, you feel like there has to be so much more to this simple story. Like they're kind of leading you to something epic. That's what I'm getting from it, and I cannot wait to find out what it is. But so far, no complaints whatsoever. Really good. I'm really enjoying this. I'm like excited to see where it goes, because I feel like they're building up to something that is gonna stay in my head for a very long time. We'll talk about that later. I'm gonna get back to it. Actually, first I'm gonna get more drinks and then I'll get back to it. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Who knew? Who knew that it would be possible for my mind to be blown twice in one night? Did not see that happening at all. I honestly feel like I got lucky tonight. I watched 2 Korean films and I find them both amazing. I'm sort of scared to watch Korean films for the rest of my life because I feel like they are not going to live up to this experience, because I got lucky with these 2. Wow. All of you that have seen Oldboy, I'm sure you probably know what I'm going through right now watching it for the first time. Okay, so Oldboy. You have this man who is an ass, he's a jerk, he's a drunk. Straight from the beginning, he is kidnapped, he's taken away, and they put him into a room that kind of looks like a hotel room. The experience that he goes through in this room that he is locked in for 15 years, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. They really know how to capture what he's going through, how he's like slowly losing his mind. The narrating by this guy during the 15 years, I think, plays very well. The things that are going through his mind are narrated by him. Okay, so during the time that he is locked in this room for the 15 years, I think during the first year he finds out that his wife has been murdered. He does have a TV in this room. In this room he has everything he needs. He has a bed, a desk, a bathroom, shower, and 1 TV. He watches a lot of TV, at least for the first few years that he's in there. And while he's watching TV and flipping through the channels, he finds out that his wife has been murdered. He finds out that his wife was just murdered and that he is the main suspect for her murder, and that his daughter is also missing. Of course, he loses his mind, finding out that his wife is murdered, realizing that he's locked in there and cannot do anything about it, and he also can't help but wonder where his daughter is. So during the time that he is in there, he immediately starts to believe that he is in there because he has done wrong. He grabs paper, he grabs a pen, and he starts making a long list of all the people that he has wronged in his life. So later on, he's released after 15 years, and he is told that he has 5 days to find out who put him in there and why. Whenever he does get out, he finds this girl at a restaurant. He shares his story and she decides to help him out. From the second he gets out, the way the movie plays out, you sort of feel like you're right there with him trying to find out what happened. You sort of know as much as he knows. You're never ahead of him. You never feel like you know a little bit too much and you can't wait for him to find out. No. you can't wait to find out because you sort of want to know as much as he does. But the way the movie plays out, you're sucked into this character and into this question, why and who, and you really want to know, so you sort of feel like you're trapped in this story with him. There is this huge twist in the end once he finds out who and why that is just unbelievable. I mean, this is a movie that I'm not ever gonna forget. Without spoiling anything, just remember this question. Who is the villain? Just keep that question in mind because I keep asking myself that. Who is the villain? Who's the victim here? If you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about because it kind of goes both ways. Don't want to spoil anything. But please, you guys, I don't know how to make it clear. Watch this movie. You have to watch The Chaser. You have to watch Oldboy. Do yourself a huge favor. Watch both of these movies. I highly recommend a double feature night. Watch both movies in one night. Okay, so that's it, you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Go watch both of these movies. Highly recommended. That's it, you guys. Thank you for joining me on this double feature movie night. I'm not going to say it again. Go watch these movies. If you guys have seen these movies, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you agree with me or not. Please tell me you do. If you guys have any other suggestions of other Korean films or other foreign films that you think are brilliant, please leave them down below. I would love to watch them. Like the video if you like. Subscribe for more videos if you want. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I don't know what else to say. Do yourself a favor. Go watch it. It's brilliant. It's great. That's all I'm going to say.